Hey everyone, welcome to Spoiler Kings. This is Brandon. Today I am going to be doing a solo review of Rob Zombie's The Munsters, which is now streaming on Netflix. Thanks for tuning in. Um, I'm going to jump right into it. Basically, if you're familiar with The Munsters, old school sitcom, was the story of the Munster family, father Herman, his wife Lily, their grandpa, Grandpa Fred, I think his name, their son Eddie, and them living in Mockingbird Lane in 1960 suburbia, if I remember correctly. This is a passion project of Rob Zombie's that he's been talking about for quite some time. His wife, Sherry Moon Zombie, plays Lily Munster. Jeffrey Daniel Phillips plays Herman Munster, and Daniel Roebuck plays Grandpa. This is basically the story of how Herman and Lily met in Transylvania and how they moved to Mockingbird Lane in modern day suburbia. This movie, oh boy. I'm going to try to be as fair as possible to this movie. On one hand, I got what Rob Zombie was going for. It's very much this tradition, this intentionally kind of hokey, almost like an Adam West-esque Batman type, really goofy feel. This is his first this is his first PG-rated movie. Everything else has always been a hard R, super violent, super profanity laced, super graphic. Easily his most family-friendly movie, which was a bold move for him. And I do really have to give it to Rob Zombie. He goes for projects that he's passionate about. Everything that he does is a passion project or a home or an homage or like a throwback in some way, shape, or form. So I did appreciate that, and Daniel Roebuck was very, very good as Grandpa. He even emulated a lot of Al Lewis, who played the original Grandpa, a lot of his voice patterns, a lot of his mannerisms, and that sort of thing. Some of the costuming, some of the sets, particularly the house on Mockingbird Lane, did very much work for me. And I'd say those are the main and probably only things that really work for me. So let me get into what did not work, because there's quite a few of those things. First and foremost, anyone who's viewing, any of our loyal viewers, I sincerely hope that you did not watch this movie, and that me basically leaping on this grenade was not all for nothing. So, and if you're planning on watching it, don't. So Rob Zombie, even though I get what he was going for, and I do respect the fact that this was a passion project of his, the man cannot write comedy. He just can't. He can't, and I sincerely wish that somebody else, if he had to direct this, I sincerely wish that somebody else wrote the comedy for him. Even if he did have a talent for comedy, the actors just didn't have any comedic timing. I think the worst offender was Jeffrey Daniel Phillips as Herman. Um, Especially this dude's voice, it sounded like Toby Maguire if he got kicked in the balls. You know, Herman Munster, Fred Gwynn, the original Herman, had like this very deep kind of commanding type voice. If it were up to me, it would be someone like David Harbour from Stranger Things. Like, he would have been an infinitely better Herman Munster. And granted, I would have preferred that happened had he been in a better movie. Him, maybe Brad Garrett, Brandon Routh would have worked. He just wasn't great as Herman. And as for Sherry Moon Zombie, this is the latest. This is the latest case of Rob Zombie's "I put my wife in everything." He should not put his wife in everything. If he has to put his wife in everything, I wish some of the money that he put into some of the set or some of the costuming and Mockingbird Lane, he could have thrown a little bit towards some acting skills for her. You know, I kind of get the hokey kind of nature that she was going for, because it was very theatrical and very over the top, but it didn't really come off as her legitimately acting so much as she was doing like a cheap imitation of it, Yvonne DiCarlo, who played the original Lily Munster. So that didn't really work for me. I think also the them doing an origin story for the Munsters was a bad idea. the plot didn't really go anywhere. There really wasn't even very much of a plot. Lily and Herman meet and they get into a whirlwind romance, and it all ends with them migrating to Mockingbird Lane just due to a series of unfortunate events. Um, it if you're going to do the Munsters, you need Eddie Munster. You need the quote unquote normal cousin, Marilyn Munster. It just, the three of them together, and the fact that they just, as actors, as performers, they did not mesh very well together. So it really killed a lot of the movie for me. And by the time we even get to Mockingbird Lane, the movie's pretty much over. And the way that this movie ends is very abrupt and out of nowhere. On one hand, it was an act of mercy because I was actively waiting for the movie to end. It was much, much longer than it needed to be. It was like an hour and 40 something minutes. And this movie was so painfully going nowhere that it almost felt like 4 hours, which sucked. Rob Zombie claims he's such a mega fan of this content, but watching the movie, it could have fooled me. The whole thing with the Munsters is, they're a family of monsters, but they happen to think they're like an average American family in suburbia. And a lot of the comedy from the original came from how people were reacting to them. And that's none of it here. They're aware that they're monsters. They're aware that they're weirdos, and they're freaked out by the normal people when they moved to the United States, when they moved to Mockingbird Lane, and that just really didn't work for me. It was missing. So it kind of felt like Zombie just kind of saw some people in some cool costumes that dressed like they do in his music videos, and he ran with that. So I think that it was a waste as a whole. I think my favorite thing about it, like I said, was the house on Mockingbird Lane. That looked pretty awesome. I hope Zombie doesn't think this is going to turn into a franchise, and I don't think we need to worry about that. Just kind of looking at some of the reviews that I've already read for it. Good on him for doing his passion project, but, unfortunately the rest of us had to suffer. All right, so the way we rate things here on Spoiler Kings, 3 ways. We do now, drop what you're doing, go watch this movie immediately. Later, you can watch it eventually, no rush. Never, that one pretty much writes itself. You do not have to watch this, ever, never, ever. Judging from everything I just said, I'm pretty sure you can guess what I'm going to say. This is a very hard, very solid, no question about it, never. Do not watch this movie, ever. I did it so you don't have to. I already hopped on this grenade for you. Stop directing movies, Rob Zombie. And if you're gonna, and if you have to direct movies, get a better writer. Stop casting your wife in principal roles. Well, thanks everyone for watching my very first solo review of the Munsters. I am honored if you tuned in. If you want to see more from us here at Spoiler Kings, just like and subscribe. If you did watch the Munsters, which I sincerely hope you did not, let us know what you think in the comment section below. Be sure to tune in all through the month of October. We're going to be covering a ton of Halloween and horror-themed stuff during this month. Thank you very, very much for tuning in to us at Spoiler Kings, and we will see you soon. Thank you.